You are success to me.
All right, everybody, let's do part 2 of what we've learned in a year of living in our home in Ella. All right, so I said next we talk about Starbucks, which is a big topic, and some people are really down on us when we were really low on money. And how can you say spending $100 to $150 on Starbucks when you don't have any money? And to answer that, when we were really low, and when we first started coffee time in the summer, and we were really low, we did not go to Starbucks. Noelle bought a big bag of Starbucks coffee, grinded it herself, and she made her own coffee. It was, much cheaper. And we were just that low, we couldn't do it. But as soon as we got any money, we went back to Starbucks. And really, Starbucks is not a second home for us. It is an extension of our van. When we pull into a Starbucks, and especially here in Orlando, the Starbucks we found is amazing. We love it. It is so comfortable, lots of seating, and we've been to a lot of Starbucks all over this country, and this one is a great one. So we feel very comfortable here. And what do here? We run our business. We run our school. Our next session is starting up in January, and I'm going to be and I administer it. She recorded all the videos, but I now administer the school. And so we go in, and I will administer the school and work with the students and connect with the students and get them their assignments. And then Noelle gets on after me, and she talks with the students and works with them. And so it's big for that. We, of course, have to upload all our coffee time and Sprinter Van living videos and all those. And it's a place to spread out. It's a good bathroom. It's her coffee that we have once or twice a day. And it's not a big, she doesn't get the frappuccinos and all the mochas. And she gets the, it's $2.40 for her tall Americano is what she pays. And so, the most we spend a month is $150, but that gets us a home away from home when it's really hot here, like it has been in Florida. I mean, it has been hot and humid. It's a place to be that's not hot and humid, to cool off. And when we were in Marquette, Michigan, when it was freaking cold, it's a place to warm up. And it's a place to get out of the weather. And so that's important for us to have that. So it's not like we live in our van and we just stay here and sit here. We have a full life, and Starbucks is part of that life. And to have an office and a second home, or a part of our home in Starbucks, I don't think it's outrageous to pay $100 to $150 a month for that. That's what we all have expenses. Some people probably would spend that just to have their coffee and not have a second home or another home. And so we feel comfortable with it. And if you're on the road and you don't want to spend that money and you think it's wasteful, then and you're going to do this life, then don't do it. But for us, this is part of our home. A big part of what makes this life so enjoyable is that we have this great place to go every day. And they're everywhere around the country, and we know what we're getting. We know she knows what kind of coffee she's getting. I know I'm going to get good Wi-Fi to work on the school, on all of our business ventures and stuff. So that's Starbucks, and I hope that answers everyone's questions. The next thing is weather. On this journey, we've been through lots of weather. In Colorado, we were over 100 degrees and no humidity, and just baking in an oven in the van, and hiding out under trees when we were really poor, and still loving life and using a little spray mister to stay cool. And that was quite an adventure when it was so hot. And we were in Marquette and in Michigan and in Minnesota when it was very cold. And in Marquette, it got down below freezing. It snowed a couple times. And the buddy heater, we used it for over 2 weeks. And we used about 40. I kept track of the hours because I want to see how long a 20-pound tank will actually last for us. So we used like 42 hours of the buddy heater in that couple 3 weeks. And we do, and so we still have, I guess, another 40 or 50 hours worth. So if Florida actually gets cold, we'll have it. But the other part of the weather is, now we're in Florida and we're dealing with, we've finally gotten used to it being hot. We're finally used to the humidity, because in Colorado and on the West Coast there is no humidity like here. And so now we're finally used to what it's like to be in humidity all the time. And our bodies are adjusting and sleeping in humidity, and the weather's not too bad for sleeping. We have a fan on us and it's 70 degrees, so it's not bad. You just have a sheet. And so we've experienced the hot and the cold and the humid and rain. Like when we were in Portland, Oregon, it rained for like a week, and the solar panels just barely kept up. And we were kind of trapped. We were kind of trapped between, luckily we had rain jackets, we were trapped between Starbucks and Panera Bread and the van. And one thing we do a lot is walk. We walk a lot. When we're not in Starbucks or Panera, we're walking. We're at the lake, we're just walking in neighborhoods, quiet little neighborhoods, and we love to go on walks and see the world and be outside. And so for that week we had a hard time because it was pouring. You couldn't do anything. And so we've been in the rain and seen what it's like, and that's not the funnest, but we've done it. And so it's great to have been through every season and all the weather types, and not only survived it, but just really enjoyed it. Enjoyed this life in all of its aspects. Even if it's not fun, it's different and it's an adventure and it's exciting, and that's what we want in our life. We don't need comfortable and easy. I did that a lot. I did that for 12 years in the IT, in the corporate world. I want the adventure of life, so this is fun for us. What else? Oh, the vents. Okay. So when I cut, so what, if you haven't seen the video of the vents, I'll put a playlist to building the Sprinter van in 7 days. But I cut holes at the back, in the back corner, with just a house vent down there, and then in the doorway, in the sliding door, I put 2 vents there. And I got a lot of comments about the bugs, and about exhaust fumes, and about structural stability, and and people who are just concerned, or like, that's not going to work. And so just an update: after 11 months, no issues. Bugs don't come in those vents. We haven't had any issue with bugs. No exhaust fumes at all from the beginning. Never had an exhaust problem. The vents, the only thing that we have to do with the vents is when it gets cold, because of course that cold air comes in. So we have those magnetic vent covers you get at Home Depot or whatever, and we put like 2 layers of vent cover, so it's not just one thick, and we just cover the vents, because they're metal, with vent covers. And so it's not insulation, but it definitely keeps the cold air from getting in here. Like, there's no breeze anymore. And so we have definitely done that, but that's no big deal. Just throw the vent on, throw the covers on the vents, and then you don't have to worry about the cold. But in the heat, it's so helpful. With that fantastic fan running, sucking out, you can, when we're eating dinner, I sit right in front of the vent at the sliding door when we're eating dinner, and you can feel the cool breeze just blowing right by your leg and right up through the, right up to the vent. And it just, or when you're back cooking, you can feel the cool breeze come through. And so for us, it works great. If you don't like the vents or think that they're not going to structurally be good, don't do them for yourself. But for us, it was an experiment that worked, and it worked well. And the last thing is the solar. Solar's been working great. Of course, you need sun, so we have had issues with it not being sunny all the time, even here in Florida. But the solar panels have kept up. 320 watts is plenty for a 5-amp fridge and a 2-amp TV. More than enough for that. And batteries, we have 2. We should have 4. We only have 2. That's all we can afford at the moment. But it works fine. If we had 4, we wouldn't have any worries at all. As it is, you can go a day without sun, maybe 2. After that, you need the sun. So at some point we'll upgrade our batteries, but it hasn't stopped us. And In 11 months, we haven't had any issues that stopped us from living our life because we only have 2 batteries, so can't complain about that either. And the solar panels on the roof have worked great gluing them down. Again, in that Building the Van in 7 Days playlist that's, you know, right there in the iCard and the card in the top corner of this video, up here, maybe I did that right, you can find, I use this special kind of 3M tape that's supposed to be better than screws, and then I used this special glue that's kind of like goop, but it's in a big, it's in a tube that you squirt out, that you squeeze out, and I heard got a lot of stuff that won't work, and when it's cold, when it's hot, it'll break or it'll melt off or whatever, and no issues. In 11 months, in 50-mile-an-hour winds, driving down the 50-mile-an-hour crosswinds, in below freezing weather, in above 100 weather, with the humidity, with not humidity, with every situation, with driving rain, we haven't had any issue with the glue. And for a long time, I was kind of freaked out by everyone, what they said, and so I would, at Walmart, I would pull up right beside the cart return, and I would stand up on the cart return so I could see the top of our van, and I would, you know, I would touch it, I would flex it, and it's still flexible. After 11 months, it's still got a little give to it, and it's very firm. I have no issues at all. You may say, oh, but in a year or two it'll break again. I keep an eye on it, so if it starts to get weak, I'll just rip it all off and re-put it back on for another year. So we know it lasts a year no matter what, but I think it'll be fine for quite a while. And when I test it, it feels fine. It still feels pliable, and it's firm, and no issues, no cracking, no nothing. So, all right, that's video number 2, or part number 2. And in part number 3, we will go over, let's see, we will go over how the Sprinter van's actually working, what kind of miles per gallon we're seeing in the city, in the highway, our bed, how that's been working, our bed futon, my own design, how that's worked out, how we view towns, where we look for in a town or a place to stay, what we look for to make that this is a comfortable place, since we're not tourists. And the whole concept of that we didn't understand. We talk about this a lot since we've been talking about this video. We never got either living inside a van, living outside a van. How can you live in a van? There's no room, it's short, you barely can stand up, and some people live in ones you can't stand up in. And so we'll talk about the different mentality that comes to you when you live in a van that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, because it just kind of happens naturally once you do it. And then the other part that's kind of fun is, what can you do in a van? We've done quite a bit in this van. We haven't rented studios, we do everything out of this van. We live our lives, we run our business. So what specifically weird, different things can you do out of a van that we wouldn't even have thought it would be possible? So stay tuned for that one. That's going to be coming up soon, and I'll give everyone that fun update on that. All right, have a great day, everybody.